Hi, Gemini. I hope you're doing amazing. Thank you so much for joining me for a next 48-hour tarot reading. I do want to remind you this is general and it's meant to pertain to the following 48-hour period for you individually, beginning around when you were guided or drawn to this video, not just following when I post it. So apply it as you may. But as well, I do more than appreciate you hitting that like button, subscribing to the channel if you haven't joined this Gemini tribe already, and commenting down below. Tell me how it resonates. Tell me what you're going through. Give me some emojis, however you feel like going about it. Let's begin and pull one, if not a couple, oracles from the Forest deck and to get an overall energy. And then I think we're going to do a layered spread with the, I think the Mystic Mondays or the Light Seers. I'm not sure yet. Okay, retreat. The next 48 hours, there's going to be a focus on you either simply getting away from the mundane, the normal, the routines, the expected, whether that's vacation or just switching it up in certain ways. But for a lot, I feel like there's a focus on the weather, on your home life, right? Improving things or just enjoying the level of comfort that your sanctuary slash home life brings to you individually. All right. I'm hearing pets and kids. Pets and kids doesn't have to apply to you specifically, but that came through for a reason. I do feel like for some Geminis drawn to this reading, there's a focus on whether or not you still enjoy your specific home situation, residential situation, and whether or not you decide to switch it up in the near future. But there's an underlying focus on how wise you truly are at this point along your path. I feel like people are honoring or just noticing how wise you truly are in the midst of you, due to you responding to something, right? Or due to you bringing up a specific fact when you tell a story, when you're working or running your business, you name it. Let's actually do the Light Seers Tarot and see what else we get. Okay, it's yours to carry. I feel like you're being reminded that someone else needs to keep their problems or energy to themselves. I feel like it's not yours to carry, right? It's theirs. Keep it to yourself. There's going to be a focus on whether or not you're dealing with certain stress levels, stress factors at work, at home. You could find that, again, there's just a need to escape to a certain extent for a lot drawn to this reading from what just feels unnecessarily difficult. We're going to go with these three to begin. I hope you can see these. Let's push these over. But I really do feel like you're being pushed to recognize where the stress lies in your situation and how to either, one, avoid it, or two, make certain adjustments, changes to live a healthier lifestyle, to not feel that stress, right? Especially if it's not yours to carry, being empathic or just people laying their problems, issues on you. I feel like there's a focus on connections to a certain extent when it comes to which ones are feeling healthy, which ones are feeling more complicated stress adding to your situation, to your life due to the connecting to them. All right. But we also have the Queen of Cups and the King of Swords. I do feel like it's the next 2 days for you where you're needing to put your hands up and say, what I can't control, I won't, period. Right? Just to ride the waves. And even when it comes to certain slight moments of emotion for you personally that you do see come to be, nobody's perfect, and I'm not saying it's going to be an extremely emotional next 48, but I do feel like anything that sort of affects me in that manner or something that flows to the surface like that, just ride the waves, learn from it, grow from it, and let's move on. Because I feel like you have a lot to accomplish or just a lot of comfort that you are deserving to experience at this time, and will feel more difficult to do so when you sort of sit in those emotions for too long, or you allow for people to overly complicate your moments of peace, serenity, or what should feel more simplistic than they're making it in that moment. Does that make sense? But yeah, you're being viewed, so utilizing your knowledge and wisdom from your path up until this point, other experiences similar or just that specific one, to adjust, adapt, and when to hold back, step away, but also just that innate ability at this time, if I could even say it, that innate ability at this time for you individually to just put your hands up, right? Say, I don't want anything to do with that. I can't control it even, or just to ride the waves once again. Okay, let's flow towards the healthy. Let's flow towards what makes more sense to you at this point along your path. Yeah, the Eight of Cups. The Eight of Cups talking about how, as I place it on top of the Five of Swords and the Queen of Cups, it's saying, I'm going to walk towards the happiness, the peace, the comfort, the warmth. Who and what doesn't feels a bit cold or doesn't feel super warm and comforting at this time will not take up my time and my energy, a place in my present day situation. Okay, and we'll reevaluate how to proceed moving forward. Some of you might have already made your mind up when it comes to them, and even that situation potentially. But yeah, we'll reevaluate moving forward. But for the time being, I need to move towards what feels, again, peaceful, happy, comforting. All right, a huge focus on when you are feeling comfortable and when you're not. And so let's make sure we're wrapping oneself up with who feels comfortable to you, energy wise, experience wise, just surrounding wise. 505, I got that message a hot second ago. That angel number is speaking upon the next 48 for you, something to teach you or to inform you. The Knight of Wands. I really do feel like there's a fiery, passionate side of you that will come to be at a certain point when you're working or talking to specific people, when you're putting certain knowledge and wisdom to use, when people notice how intelligent or remember how intelligent you truly are. It's that moment or those several moments where it's like, okay, this feels good, right? So again, a highlighting of what feels good and what doesn't. What's making you feel passionate at this time and what's stripping away from it? Because there's a need for you to live a comforting life, right? A comfortable life, but one that doesn't lack that passion, that fire, that push to get you more driven at times, right? In a balanced manner. I hope that came out right. There's just a need for a balance of that comfort and passion and happiness, all the meanwhile wrapped into it. That's not too much to ask for or to demand when it comes to people, places, and situations that wrap up into your situation, okay, or that you choose to wrap yourself up with. I'm being drawn to the back of the forest deck that we used here with the retreat card. There's a Pegasus. There's a spiritual meaning for a Pegasus that will come into play for you. But I kind of got a Phoenix rising from the ashes sort of vibe from it at first. So there may be a focus on how many times you've fallen or been kicked down and just rose right back up, right? Or just learned from it, grew from it, and became a better version of oneself due to it all, right? Everything is purposeful. And I feel like there's a lot of lessons in remembering and even new informing to oneself taking place in the next 48. Okay, you deserve all the accuracy is what I'm hearing. Interesting. The fitting will feel just simply right. The King of Cups at the top of what feels like a little bit of a pyramid or looks like a little bit of a pyramid for you individually. Talking about how with the focus on the comfort, right? The focus on even your emotions at certain points, your feelings, your view on things, and what just feels right for you. Who feels right for you? It needs to add a level of peace to your life. You shouldn't be feeling as if people strip away that passion, but that peace all the meanwhile. It's this feeling that certain moments in the next 48 will add a level of passion to your situation, but make you feel peaceful all the meanwhile. How beautiful is that, right? If you can find certain connections that have a nice balance of both, or even just bring you one or the other into your situation, then that's a keeper, right? That's a connection to water moving forward to appreciate all the meanwhile, right? But again, it also talks about how when you walk away from certain people, places, and situations, separate yourself from them, and you end up in a more peaceful state where you're remembering certain ships are coming in moving forward and may need some room, you know, the eliminating of certain people, places, and situations to have it come in. So purposeful, right? There's again a highlight of the moving away from and the wrapping up with and how that affects you for the better or for the worse, period. When we've been talking about, again, comfort, peace, passion, happiness, main categories for you to be considering at this time. The Emperor. So I do feel like there's an underlying focus on what you create and develop and a very sort of beginner's mindset in certain ways, or you're just sort of adapting to the point where things feel a bit fresh. But I do sense that there's a need to rebalance oneself, put that other leg down, right? It doesn't need to feel like you have to stand on one leg or do a bit of a balancing act 24/7 to make something successful. But there's a vibe about your next 48 where you're thinking thoroughly in a very strategic manner and not very outwardly expressing or at all expressing what you're sorting through. Where am I putting my next game piece, right? Who's coming with me? Who's coming with me? Who's got a seat next to Gemini on the ride towards more, towards a better life? Who's going to fit the role? Interesting. You could also be thinking about dating or just your love life in general, family life coming into play potentially. But I also feel like if there's a moment with children, right, whether it's your own children, you experience some out and about or just at work, in the home environment, there's something that their actions or their way about them in a very innocent or just sporadic manner that'll remind you of something or teach you something. Very interesting. But again, feeling a little bit drowned in all that's taking place and feeling inclined, pushed to prioritize your peace, happiness, and comfort all the meanwhile. And again, passion, right? You're needing to recognize when you're feeling this overly serious way of being, right? And to remember how strong you are from all you've been through. And with the lion back here, but not to let people get the best of you at certain points or bring out a side of you that you don't necessarily feel proud of, especially after the fact when reflecting upon it, or just feeling a separation from that moment. Does that make sense? I feel like there's a part of you that kind of wants to put your foot down or just not allow for the BS to take place anymore, just to pop up here and there in your life. But they're saying, once again, the stepping away, putting your hands up and just migrating towards what feels better for you, that's where your power lies. All right. So focus on how to maintain and bring back that sense of power for oneself. And again, your innate ability to, with that lizard here, to regrow, to bounce back, to learn and inspire and grow from all that you are going through at this time and have been through. Okay. It's the next 48 that's going to feel very, very informative, very eye-opening, very transformative. If I didn't say that already. And I just feel like you're going to even feel very intelligent to oneself, right? Again, allow for oneself to move towards and wrap oneself up with simply who and what feels right to you. That's key at this time. All right. So I hope this was truly helpful. I'm sending you so much love and light. Go enjoy the next 48, and I'll definitely see you next time. Bye, Gemini.